right? Okay. Now, if you want to do a cooking channel, you let me know. Oh, I can do me now? Yeah? Don't get married. Don't get married. Okay, first one up is Uncut Gems. This is by far Adam Sandler's best role ever. Ever, ever, ever. I felt bad for this character. I wanted this character to win. He's a tragic figure. He's a screw up. He's a schmuck. But I was still rooting for him throughout this movie. And I will lay out why it applies today to today's time. So wait. There we go. All right. So now, opening scene is 2010. They are at the Welo mine in Ethiopia. So you keep hearing about Ethiopia the last couple of weeks because last time I checked, Israel took in some Ethiopian Jews. Now, regardless of how you feel, it's not a Bible lecture or you feel who the real Israelites. I'm just saying Ethiopia is it's kind of funny that Ethiopia is being talked about. All right, so there's a mine worker who has a compound fracture. All right, two workers find a raw opal stone in the mines. The scene then transitions from inside the opal, because as you watch the movie, it goes into the inside of the opal. You see the molecules, its structure, and then it transitions into a shot of a colon. So as it transitions, you see it's 2012. Howard Ratner, played by Adam Sandler, is having a colonoscopy. Howard is a jewel dealer. Okay? And then as he returns from his colonoscopy, he goes to his office. A leg breaker works for a heavy. A leg breaker named Phil slaps Howard in the face at the store in front of his clients. Howard owes money to Arno. So Phil is the leg breaker for Arno. They take $4,000 and they take an Audemars Piguet watch off his wrist as partial payment. Howard then visits his assistant mistress. So he has the mistress in her own apartment on the upside, okay, up north. All right, she's a party girl and hangs out with celebs. She gets celebs clients for Howard's jewelry business. Howard then sells a Michael Jackson crucifix to the Weeknd. Okay, Howard then meets his bookie, goes to see his bookie, and then two of Kevin Garnett's bodyguards beat up the leg breakers at Howard's store because they're coming as the leg breakers are leaving. The brothers are going. So an Howard comes in and sees the Italians getting beat up by a bunch of brothers. All right. And then as they're looking at jewelry, Damani, played by Lakeith Stanfield. Lakeith is like Damani is he would be KG's personal assistant. So they're looking at jewelry. Howard gets a package. It's the opal that was found from 2010. Okay. So then Damani and Howard get into an argument because Damani's like, yo, where's the good stuff at? You're showing us, the diamond Furbies. We want to see the good stuff. Okay. Howard is in it as he unpacks the opal from the fish. He instantly becomes mesmerized by the stone. So it's like anyone who holds this opal and looks into it. Now, mind you, it's uncut. It's a raw stone. It's still got the dirt around it. It's totally uncut. So anybody that looks into this thing is kind of mesmerized by its physical properties. All right. So then Howard mentions African Jews in Ethiopia. They have access to precious black opals. He then shows KG the opal and said that opals hold the universe inside of them. Okay. KG then looks at the opal and then he gets transported instantly. There's flashbacks up to him as a kid, flashbacks to him playing in Minnesota. There's flashbacks to him in the NBA, and then he sees images of the mine workers. So it's all these cut flashback scenes that he's seeing as he's looking into this opal. So he's drawn into this opal. He has an actual connection to this opal, okay? And then KG accidentally breaks the glass that he's leaning on top of it. So then KG takes it as a sign. He says he needs this. KG wants to buy it. It's not for sale. Howard wants to sell it at an auction. KG says, well, let him hold it for for a game. This is the playoff season. They're playing against Philly. They're in a 7-game series against Philly. Okay? KG feels connected to the stone. He said he feels like a 40 or 50 point night. KG says he feels like he can fly with this stone. To swap it out, KG gives him his Boston ring, his Boston championship ring, to hold as collateral for him to hold the stone for tonight's game. Howard, being the goofball that he is, he goes to pawn KG's ring for 21 grand with a 7% VIG. And he has to pay it off by Friday. Then they say mazel before partying. So they're all Jews, okay? This movie, I'm gonna get to the point where it's gonna remind you, and shout out to Time Lord. Time Lord is the father to this part. The whole sports is rigged. There's a part in this movie where I'm going to explain to you how they rigged the games. Okay. So then they say mazel before partying. The leg breakers are following Howard. Howard changes his bet to 40 grand with +1 with lightning bets, 6-way parlay, KG with points and rebounds. Okay. So then Howard's wife is nagging him about watching the game. Howard watches the game in his son's room. Howard makes the line bets, so he wins. All right? He goes to see his mistress, but hides in the closet. Before she gets home, he jumps out and surprises her. The next day, Howard is waiting for Damani to return the stone. That was the agreement. Howard owes 32 grand to two little Jews. Two little Jews come up. They got wavy hair and they're balding. He's like, "Hey, Howard, you owe us." He's like, playing them off, because they're little guys, but he still owes them money, so he kind of plays them off in front of Damani, like, "Get out of here! I don't want to buy your watches." Blah 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 blah. All right. So then Damani pulls up doesn't have the opal. He takes Howard to the Boston practice facility where KG is at. Howard tells Damani the first. Here we go. This is how you know the sports is rigged. So Damani and Howard having a conversation about basketball. So then Damani's like, "Oh, the first 2 points was probably scored by a white boy in the NBA." No. The first 2 points ever scored in the NBA was by a Jew named Ossie Shechtman, 1946, for the New York Knicks. Okay? He died at the age of 94 in 2013. Otto Schechter, the first person to ever score in the NBA, was a Jew. This entire movie basically tells you who runs what. Period. Later that night, while at his daughter's play, the two leg breakers are in attendance. Howard speaks to them outside. He bites one of them. They give him a foot chase. They kidnap him, bring him in front of Arno. All right, and then they had stopped his bet. So that bet for 40 grand that mentioned earlier, they stopped his bet. He won the bet. KG he hit all his numbers, but they stopped the bet. So then they strip him naked and lock him in the trunk of his own car. His wife, he has to call his wife Dina to free him. And that night, Howard calls Damani to arrange to get the stone. So Dina and his daughter do not respect, they don't respect Howard at all. Now mind you, whole Jewish family, wife, kids, you know what I'm saying? So then Howard attends an event looking for Damani, but he sees his mistress with the weekend. Because she's a party girl, this is what she does. Damani says he doesn't have the opal. Howard has to re-enter the event because he left and came back. So this is where you see Mr. Flawless, Greg Una, big time jeweler out of New York. But if I remember correctly, he no longer associates with Flawless. He's his own jeweler brand now. So he's strictly Greg Una. He used to be Mr. Flawless. He no longer works with the Flawless jeweler. He's his own now. Okay. So then Flawless tells Howard he needs that Michael Jackson crucifix back. Howard finds his mistress in the bathroom with the Weeknd. He attacks the Weeknd and gets thrown out. The next day, Alice, with the selling house for the stone, is demanding the opal. KG and Damani show up to give Howard the opal back. KG then offers 250 grand for the opal. KG wants his ring back. Damani wants his watches back because Damani and Howard had a side deal going. Okay. Damani then pours triple X vitamin water into Howard's fish tank, killing his fish. Howard's doctor says his colonoscopy was clean. There's a joke about Jews and colon cancer. He says, well, you know, the thing with Jews and colon cancers, hell, I thought Jews were the chosen people. So they make this joke between him and his doctor about Jews and colon cancer and them being the chosen people. All right. During the Passover dinner, Howard reads the plates. Arnold also shows up to Passover because, like I said, they're all Jews. And while his mom reads in Hebrew, he does the thing with the plates. And the one thing I caught during the reading was death of the firstborn. And he looked at his son. He said it could still happen. So I thought that was pretty interesting when they were reading the plates. And he takes the liquid and throws it on the plates. Every time she says something, he repeats it. She'll say it in Hebrew. He'll repeat it in English, and he'll throw like liquid on the plates. All right. So then Howard implies to his wife that he wants to. That it's not working, and he wants to fix it. She laughs in his face. She says she despises him and wishes she'd never met him. Howard then walks away. Now, mind you, this is his wife of however many years. So this is, once again, Howard gets no respect from his wife. Howard then goes to make sure Julia left the apartment, his penthouse. He checks his son for asking who's the hot chick living in his apartment, because his neighbor spilled the beans. All right. The next day, Howard goes to the auction and sees the opal has been devalued for $150,000. The original agreement was for them to appraise the opal for $750,000. So Howard flips out. He calls his father-in-law Louis. All right. He asks Louis to jack the bid up to $250, because Kevin Garnett's at the auction as well too. So he's asking his father-in-law to raise the bid up to get Kevin Garnett to pay more for the opal. All right. So then KG shows up. He bids $100,000. Louis then bids $110,000. Then it goes back to KG. It goes up to $190,000. KG has a female Jewish advisor telling him no. Louis gets the opal. It backfires. So Louis end up getting the opal for $190,000. Howard explains to Louis he's going to wire him back the $190,000 plus 20%. Howard goes to sell the opal back to KG for the $175,000. Okay? So then Howard returns back to the store. There is a Hamsa pendant on the outside of his door. If you know what a Hamsa pendant is, it's like a hand upside down with the eye in the middle. It means a whole bunch of different things to a bunch of different people. I'm not going to get into the breakdown for that. All right? So then Julia professes her love for Howie because she works at his store. She got his name tattooed on her right ass cheek. And then Howard has a breakdown. So Howard, realizing his shortcomings in life, and he starts crying because all of his plans have all fell to the wayside, and he says he's nothing, he's not worth it. She's like, no, you're worth it. You're a good man. I love you. You can come with me. Okay, so. Then Howard gets a call from KG's agent to buy the opal for $175,000. So then now Howard's plans are starting to come back to life again. Howard tells Arlo that, hey, he sold the opal. Howard then swaps his Knicks ring for KG's ring. KG gets his ring back, and Howard gets the opal. Howard gets $165,000 less 6% for the money. Okay. Then Howard shows KG the line in Vegas because they're having a conversation. Because KG wants to know, well, how much do you really pay for it? And he's like, come on, it's a thing, it's my thing, it's not about what I pay for. So he says, I paid $100,000 for it. So KG's like, oh, you just doubled your money. He said, hey, man, it's just like sports. It's like the sports things. And so then he plays KG's mind. He says, they didn't got you picked to win tonight. He shows KG the line in Vegas. Philly's supposed to win Game 7. So then, based off KG having the diamond or the opal and him being so upset at the line in Vegas, Howard bets the $165,000 he got from KG on the Celtic game. Arlo shows up to his store to collect the money, the $165,000. Howard puts the money in the bag, gives it to his assistant out the window. He books her a flight to the Mohegan Sun to place the whole $165,000 on Boston to win Game 7. Okay? Howard tells Arlo he's going to mess up the line for the game. The goons hang Howard outside the window and want him to call Julia to come back to bring the money back. Howard refuses. On the way out, he locks him in the security door. So you know when you go to most jewelry stores, when you go to the back, there is the invisible enclosure. Then you go into the office. So he's locked them in the enclosure. They can't get out. All right? So then he explains to them the NBA doesn't want Philly to win. They have no stars. The refs know it. So he's breaking it down to Arlo. Like they're gonna make Boston win, and here's why. So then Julia places the wager. She places a 3-parlay wager on Boston. Howard watches the game with Arlo locked in the security door. He actually plays the phone call from Julia to Howard. He says, "This is the bet I placed. These are the lines." All right. So Arlo knows the bet's been placed and what the wager is. Okay. He bet on the tip, the opening tip. He bet on Boston getting the opening tip. He bet on KG making his first shot. KG makes his first shot. One of Arlo's men is in the Mohegan Sun looking for Julia. So off the rip, KG's hitting his shots and he win the opening tip. The Celtics end up winning Game 7. They won. So Howard basically tripled his money. Okay? He buzzes Arlo back in and his goons. Phil, the blonde goon, then shoots Howard in the face. Kills him. So then his boss, Arlo's like, "What did you just do?" Phil, being the live wire, he puts the gun in Arlo's face. He says, "You want me to shoot you too?" So him and the other goon start breaking the glass to make it look like a robbery. Now, mind you, they're on camera. Arlo tries to escape. This is the boss. Phil shoots Arlo in the face, killing him. So after the game, they're interviewing KG. KG's feeling good. He feels vindicated. He says, "Yo, I give credit to The Rock for inspiration for his performance tonight." He said, "The Rock showed up. The Rock was here," meaning the black opal. Okay? Julia cashes out. So she walks out of the Mohegan Sun. Well, actually, she had someone else get the money for her because she knew she was being followed. So she gets the money. She's in the limo. She's on her way back from the Mohegan Sun. So as Arlo and Howard, both with bullet holes in their faces, bleed out, there's a descending shot into Howard's bullet hole into the side of his face. Then it transitions back into the black opal. You see the insides of the opal, and then you see a night shot of the universe. End scene. Yeah, this was a very slept-on movie. I know they wanted an Oscar nom for Adam's role. He played this role flawlessly. Like, if you ever had an idea of how a jeweler is, this is the way I view jewelers because of Adam Sandler's performance. So that was Uncut Gems. Eee. Sad, tragic, man, tragic. All right, so what am I gonna do next? Okay, let us do next breakdown.